Okay, well, welcome to Rotary, everybody. It's a beautiful sunny day. It is our wonderful weekly time to be together and share some fellowship, even if it is virtually. I'm so glad that you're here today. We've got a great program with 3 of our own Rotarians speaking to us today. But to get us started are our greeters, Courtney Beckler and also Garrett Metzke. Garrett.
Hi, welcome to Rotary, everyone.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you both for greeting today. We're going to move into our music, and that is with Nick Helms today. Nick?
Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, everybody. I am pleased to present a Beatles medley that I worked on recently on my trumpet, and it was 8 minutes long, a little bit too long for our music, so I've actually cut it down a little bit, so there's some kind of choppy transitions, but it's still fun. Hope you enjoy it. Hope it brings a smile to your face today, and take it away.
as always, Nick, I really appreciate you sharing that with us. Boy, when we get back to the convention center and in person, we're going to have to clone you so you can do that live for us. So we would just really enjoy it.
I can only play one trumpet at a time though.
Darn it, darn it. Well, I learned a new word. I'd never heard of a flugelhorn before. So again, thank you so very much for sharing. Now we have Tom Frula to do our invocation. Tom.
Now that's a hard act to follow. Nick, I'm always jealous of musicians, and your pictures reminded me that in the roster, I have not updated my picture in the 40 years I've been in the club. So Carol and I probably ought to do that, just to be honest with everybody. Okay, for invocation this afternoon, excuse me. As a senior member of Rotary, I want to express my gratitude and pleasure for the continued addition of new members, even in this most unusual year. Please join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, we are grateful for this club and all the terrific people in it. Thank you for gifting our leaders with the vision to see possibilities in the midst of challenges. And in spite of these challenges, President Jennifer and the rest of our leadership team have kept this club going and doing good in our community and around the world. Continue to help them see creative ways to deal with the situations thrown at them. Give them special wisdom as they lead us. Thank you. Amen.
Thank you, Tom. Well, now for presidential announcements, and I'll tell you, one of the worst duties of this job is to let you know when a fellow Rotarian has passed away. And I do have some news to share with you today. And that is that Dr. Jim Abendhaus passed away yesterday. Dr. Abendhaus joined Rotary back in 1971. He was a 3-time Paul Harris Fellow, and he's certainly going to be missed. There's no update on services yet, but certainly if we find out that information, we will pass it along to you. If you join me in a moment of silence to honor Dr. Abendhaus. Thank you very much. Now, a reminder, this came to you in email today. It is a volunteer opportunity at the Community Vaccination Clinic that apparently has opened at the fairgrounds just today. It's going to be run by Signal Health, and they remind everyone that if you're interested in volunteering at that site, that you do need to register beforehand. I believe also in that registration form, there is a place that you can put down that you are with Rotary. We'd like to try to find out how many Rotarians are volunteering there, but I'm not certain that they've got that system in place. However, that is a box that you can fill out on the form. And a reminder that that contact email address is eocphy@co.yakima.wa.us, which again was in your email earlier today. So take a look at that if you have some time to volunteer. Next up, we've got our Sergeant at Arms, which is Deb Sterling. Deb.
Thank you very much, President Jennifer. I'm just going to warn you, everyone's going to need a piece of paper and a writing tool for a quick exercise during this Sergeant at Arms. Classification. The definition of classification is the action or process of classifying something according to shared qualities or characteristics. For example, the classification of disease according to symptom. Well, we're not going to talk about diseases today. Today, we've got 3 great classification talks. And I love classification talks because we really get to know our cohorts better, and we learn lots of fun facts about them. And sometimes they even share some little embarrassing tidbits, which are always fun. If you have never done a classification talk in this club or in another Rotary club, you get to pay $1. Another thing about classifications. Classification is really an important part of Rotary culture, and some of you newbies may not know about this. But when you join Rotary, you're assigned a classification. The idea is to limit each club member, way back in the beginning, each club to 1 person in each classification. So take it in its full sincerity in the very beginning. There'd be 1 banker, 1 realtor, 1 doctor. However, clubs would be very small if we didn't add a little creativity to classifications, which is acceptable. Carolyn, I just wonder, you don't have to answer, but I just wonder if you know how many variations of bankers we have in our club. I think it's a lot. Now, for your assignment, I want you to take your pen or pencil, and I want you to write down on a piece of paper your exact classification. What is your classification as it's written on your button? Okay. Now, after the meeting, go to our trusty blue book and check to see if you were wrong. If one letter's off, you're wrong. After all, this is a fundraiser. If you were wrong, you pay $1. Now, classifications are not always a super positive thing. Classifying something by a shared quality or characteristic sometimes can be subjective and maybe even negative. We need to be very aware that we do not classify people in a biased way. Now, our club's ad hoc committee on racial justice meets on Zoom every Thursday at 3 o'clock, and we discuss things like bias and racial justice and things of that nature. If you have not attended one of these great discussion Zoom meetings, pay $1. And if you haven't read one of the recommended books, articles, or visited a website that was recommended by this group, you get to pay $3. So please be generous, send your money to Carolyn, don't forget, and thank you very much. We look forward to our classification speeches today.
Awesome. Thank you, Deb. And I saw in the chat 2 corrections for information that we've dispersed today. One is a correction on the email address I gave for volunteering to help with the community vaccination clinic. It should be eocphu@co.yakima.wa.us. So there's correction on that. And the ad hoc committee on racial justice meets on Tuesdays at 3. So you can certainly let us know if you're interested in attending that and get that Zoom link.
I will definitely pay $2 for that mistake. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Deb. I appreciate that. So now with our speaker introductions is Erin Black. Erin.
Hi, good afternoon. As always, good to see everybody in your squares. I look forward to seeing you in person one day soon. I have to say that, and I know I say this all the time, I said this last time, but truly the classification programs are my favorite. Part of what inspires me with Rotary is
2 McChicken sandwiches and a large Diet Coke.
Any thoughts?
okay. So I wish I was having what he was having for lunch, but but part of what inspires me about Rotary is everybody who's part of that, right? This collective impact, and so it's fun to know what people's passions are, to know about who they are, who we can connect with even more. And truly, this is an initiation for new Rotary members. I've done my classification talk and I was so nervous because it's hard talking about yourself, but let's give let's really give a good welcome to TRESSA Shockley, Marisol Summers, and Priscilla Trevino, because they're going to be sharing with us today. And so let's open our arms to hear their stories and hear what they have to say. And I want to remind everybody, when they joined, TRESSA joined in 2019. And she's the foundation director of Perry Technical Institute, really energetic. I just love her energy in the work that she's doing. Marisol is the director of quality at John A. Haas, and she joined in 2016. And then our newest member of the 3 is Priscilla, who joined in October of 2020, and she's the executive director of the Yakima Schools Foundation. And so welcome, ladies. I am so excited to hear from you. And I'm going to, again, go by alphabetical order by last name. So TRESSA, we're going to start with you and then go with Marisol and then Priscilla. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Erin. I'm happy to be with all of you today. Obviously, I'm not totally stoked about this because public speaking is a challenge, but it is definitely getting more comfortable. I've had more experience in doing it with my new role at Perry Technical Institute. So looking forward to sharing a little bit about me with you all today. Typically on Thursdays when I'm logged on for meetings, you're probably not going to be seeing me because my camera's turned off. I work from home on Thursdays to be able to be home with my son. And I don't pull myself together if I don't have to. So I would be absolutely embarrassed to show you what I look like on those days. Either that or I'm probably making him lunch or running around the kitchen while I'm listening to the meeting. But today I've got several online meetings, so I really had no choice but to pull myself together. Just want to start out by saying that the joys of my life are my two children, Merrick, age 11, and Tegan, who's 9. They go to West Valley Schools, which is also where I graduated from. I'm definitely one of those people who became a better person by becoming a parent. I had plenty of fun, travel, and me time during my 20s. So by the time I became a parent in my 30s, I was ready to settle in and enjoy the ride. My sidekicks couldn't be more different from each other, and I love how they challenge me. But what I've learned from being a parent is that I'm not an expert and I'm never going to be one. So I go with the flow, demonstrate a positive example, teach them my expectations. I don't shy away from discipline, and I love the heck out of them. So hopefully one day they'll turn out all right. So I don't know if you guys can even see this. Maybe it'll be fuzzy, but these are my kiddos. This is last year's school pictures. And they're both almost as tall as me. So at their age, they're obviously pretty tall. In preparing to share about me, I struggled with this, mostly because I'm not private, I'm pretty outgoing, but I don't really like to talk about me. And as Erin said, probably most of us really don't. So as I was thinking about how I wanted to present myself today, I got to thinking about a recent conversation with some coworkers, and we were talking about how our personalities really bring out the best in one another. And so we started talking about our recent DISC assessments that we did. So I thought, oh, this could be a good idea. Let me dig around and see if I can find that DISC assessment I took and see what I could pull out of that to share with you. So I'm sure everyone in this audience has probably done some form of a personality test at some time or another in your careers. And I think they're usually pretty accurate myself. There's always a few things in there where it's like, yeah, that doesn't really fit me, but for the most part, I think they're good. And before I get into the outcome of what my DISC assessment told me, I want to share about the very first analysis I did at the age of about 8. I was in 2nd grade. It was a fun class experiment in which we had to take headshots, and we made a reverse image of another copy. So essentially we cut the 2 pictures in half, putting together the 2 left sides and putting together the 2 right sides. And the purpose of this project is to figure out if you were dominant left brain or right brain. And so it was really interesting because there was quite a few people in the class who looked like they were children of the Michelin Man. Their faces were twice as large and quite awkward. And then there was people whose the other side of their face was quite squished and tall and skinny. So it was myself and one other person in the class who looked almost identical to our original photo. And I thought, gosh, this is really interesting. But because my strengths kind of lie right in the middle, apparently I'm not either left or right brained. So this explained a lot to me as I continued to grow up and develop, because I never really felt like I was especially good at anything. I never felt like I had mastered something or something was really unique to me. I always had to put a lot of effort into making good grades, to being decent in sports. Okay, I was a little bit of a bench rider, but I tried. And anytime I had to learn a new skill, I definitely put in the time. So I've always been used to giving something my all before giving up on it. But again, I just never really felt accomplished in a single area. Until I got a little older, and through the examples of others in my life, I realized I'm pretty good with people and understanding the psychology of what makes them tick. I love to people watch. I love to just sit back and watch and observe. I typically will just kind of listen when I'm in a group until I pick up or recognize little traits of someone's behavior. According to my DISC analysis, my strengths lie in the I category, which maybe you guys have already guessed that. I'm an influencer, and my key strengths are being outgoing, enthusiastic, optimistic, high-spirited, and lively. You give me an idea and I'll run with it. I'm the person you want on your team when you need to get things done. And among my close group of friends, I'm often the one who brings everyone together. I'm always making sure they're comfortable, they're having fun, or they're getting what they need out of the environment. Professionally, I'm good at bringing groups of people together and finding common ground among the participants. In my 21 years of post-college employment, I've been a manager or director for 18 of those years. And I think my connection for people comes naturally and has led me to be a strong leader with great empathy. I was raised in a devout Christian home, and we were often involved in various philanthropy work and helping others in need. So my heart tends to lead the way, and I need to feel passionate about what I do. There's been a few jobs in my past that I just didn't feel like I was being fulfilled or connecting. And so ultimately I found, other fits later on down the road with my current career, especially. But working at the YMCA really spoke to my desire to be involved with something that helps others. And I've also always had an interest in health, fitness, and well-being. So serving in that capacity was a natural fit for me. As you continue to look at other aspects of the DISC analysis, my shading points towards generating enthusiasm, taking action, valuing collaboration, and offering challenge. Although offering challenge is not typical of the I style, I'm comfortable asking questions or challenging assumptions, especially if it lacks common sense or logical basis. If you know me, you're probably nodding your head and agreeing with what I've shared. I need variety. I get bored quickly, and I need to have multiple elements to keep me engaged. I absolutely love spontaneity or starting a new project, but I'm not always the strongest finisher. So if something takes too long, I probably went astray and I can be a total squirrel. I haven't even touched on my love yet for do-it-yourself projects. On weekends, I could be found demoing something at my house, working in the yard, or tiling a floor or backsplash. My kids don't think I'm much fun when I'm focused on a project, so I try to save those for when they're not around. Working at Perry Tech has made me realize that I may have missed the boat on my true calling. I think I should have been a machinist, plumber, or a contractor because I love working with my hands, getting dirty, and having the satisfaction of seeing the results of my labor. In my role at Perry Tech as the foundation director, it's pushed my comfort level further, but it's also been an incredible fit by serving the students and institution in a fundraising capacity. We award almost $500,000 per year in the form of scholarships, so I find my job to be very rewarding. I'm also very fortunate to work with an amazing team, and we work hard to find funding opportunities to help our students graduate with less debt. Since being at Perry, I've really enjoyed networking in new areas and making corporate connections, particularly since I've been working on the Win a Home raffle. It's opened up more avenues to reach out to community members, and work with others who want to help our students succeed. Just want to share that Perry Tech just kicked off the second year of the raffle, and 100% of the profits from ticket sales do go directly to student scholarships. So if you're interested in participating, please reach out to me and I'd love to connect you with some tickets. Or I'd love an opportunity to present about the project to your workplace or another organization you might be a part of. I'm definitely a doer and a giver, so being involved in service organizations has been a wonderful outlet for me to serve others, but also meet my social needs. I've been a member of Junior League for almost 20 years. I served with the downtown Kiwanis through my affiliation at the Y for about 10 years. And I'm happy now to be a part of this group to find new ways for me to grow and connect. Thank you for your time and giving me an opportunity to share. I look so forward to meeting again in person. I really miss that. And I hope to learn more about you in the coming years. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you, TRESSA, so much. It was great to hear about your, I like how you tied your analysis to what you do and what you enjoy doing. And I'm excited to hear from Marisol, if you want to go next.
Yes, good afternoon. I'm sharing my screen. Just let me know if you can see it.
Good, Marisol, go ahead.
Okay. Good afternoon. I'm going to tell you about my journey to Yakima. And this will also answer the question of, where's my accent from? I was born in San Luis Potosí, Mexico. At the time, a city of about 400,000 people. My mom was a smart woman that wanted to attend college, but was not able to. So she wanted all her children to have a college degree. My dad was a very intelligent, self-made, successful entrepreneur. Myself, I was the oldest of 5 children and a tomboy. Even though it was important for my mom, I had a college degree, I was not expected to do anything with it. As a female, I was supposed to live at home until I got married. I wanted to study food science, but the degree was not offered at my hometown's university. So I studied chemistry. At that time, I learned about the Rotary Club Goodwill Ambassador Scholarship. I applied for it and obtained it. I was now able to go to UC Davis and study food science. I will always thank Rotary for the opportunity of being able to achieve my dream of studying food science at UC Davis. I made many lifelong friendships at Davis. Here is my Rotary parents, Bob and Suzanne, and Nana, my adopted grandmother. After graduation, I was faced with a life-changing decision. Go back to Mexico and marry my boyfriend, or work for a fruit company in California. I opted for the fruit company. The fruit company was a subsidiary of Rich Products in Buffalo, New York. So Rich's transferred me to their research and development headquarters in Buffalo. My career was flourishing. I bought my first house, and then my mom passed away. This forced me to reassess my life. I decided it was time to start a family. I met a man that charmed me, and 4 months later, I married him and moved to Yakima. Luckily, my resume landed me with Haas, where I started my new career. I had 2 wonderful children. In the back of my mind was the desire to start my own business. So I took the leap and started my own son, my fruit powder company. And as a backup, I obtained my certification as a court interpreter. On 2012, I was hit by a truck while biking in Yakima. I ended up with a lot of metal in my leg. I called the recovery time my COVID rehearsal. A few years later, my 25-year-old marriage and my 20-year-old business came to an end. These were very difficult and stressful times for me. But on the bright side, I had 2 amazing children. My cougar daughter, who works at the University of Washington and is working on her MBA, and my husky son, who works for NASA as an aeronautic and astronautic engineer. So it was time to start over again. So I went back home to Haas, where I have been the director of quality for the last 5 years. I love the people there, and especially enjoy working with our sister companies around the world. Then I started dating Dave Fast, a wonderful man. And change happened again. 2 years ago, on March 2019, I suffered a sudden death heart attack. I was dead for 10 minutes. Thanks to Dave's quick response, I'm here with you today. I was very lucky not to have brain damage, although this might be debatable since I married Dave later that year. Cardiovascular disease took me completely by surprise. I did not have any of the typical warning signs, and I was already doing everything right. So my doctor recommended a whole food, plant-based, no oil diet. I was scared enough, so I embraced it. After all, I'm a food scientist. How hard could this be? And then COVID hit. So I took advantage of the lockdown and took several online cooking classes on whole food plant-based. I was curious about the comparison of COVID versus heart disease deaths. We are spending a lot of money in COVID, and heart disease is almost as bad and has been going on for a long time. We should be doing a lot more to prevent heart disease in the United States. There are still a lot of things I want to accomplish, and these were powerful wake-up calls. Therefore, I will be retiring on May 8th and starting a new chapter in my life. I have learned to embrace change and not to take life for granted. And I will always thank Rotary for launching my entire career. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you, Marisol. That was wonderful, and I see a lot of people put great pictures. I love the pictures of when you were young and with your family. Thank you for sharing. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Priscilla, we're excited to hear from you now.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for the invitation to give a classified talk today. I hope you find my story inspiring and learn something interesting about me and who I am. Okay, so I was born in July of 1983 in Sunnyside, Washington. Both of my parents, Mary and Gilbert, were born in Texas. I was the only girl in the family and have 3 brothers. Whatever it is that you might be thinking it was like growing up with all brothers, it is probably true. That also means hearing the word yes was an answer I got to often hear. When I wanted to try something new, like the time I decided I wanted to join the swim team because my friends were. Well, little did I know I had some serious practice to put in to do well at the sport. I remember I wanted to quit the first day because, well, my friends were all passing me and doing laps, far more than I was. I stopped and cried, so my mom came over and asked what was the matter. I told her I wasn't good enough, and so I wanted to quit. My mom taught me an important lesson that day, and that was trying something new isn't always about winning, and if you want to do well at something, you have to put in the work. I attended school in Sunnyside and graduated in 2001. During my last 2 years of high school, life as a teenager would change. My mom would be diagnosed with cancer and would end up needing extensive at-home care. She stayed. This is when Bernadette, a retired nurse, a complete stranger, would come into our lives. She stayed in our home, helping take care of my mom and teaching me how to take the best care of her. Being the only girl in the house, I would naturally take on this role. This is also when I would be inspired to serve and help others, not only because a complete stranger would come in and help my mom, my family, unpaid, but my mom's life would ultimately teach me that being kind and showing compassion to those around you matters because we never know what battles or challenges others are facing around us. And 2, that your status in life doesn't mean more than the impact you can make on the people around you. My father would end up passing prior to high school graduation. He taught me that there was no obstacle in life that I would face that I couldn't overcome because giving up was not an option. This story of my mom on the right there, that is a clear picture of her personality, always finding joy, always finding a reason to smile and be happy with life. I would change my plans to not leave home after high school graduation and attend Yakima Valley College. In 2003, I enrolled in the Art Institute of Seattle, Chicago, and earned an Associates of Arts in Marketing. I am clearly figuring out how to navigate this presentation. After graduation and completing my internship with Nordstrom, I worked for the company for 5 more years as a business manager. At Nordstrom, I gained valuable leadership and management skills, but most importantly, what excellence in customer service looks and sounds like. I would end up having an exceptional 13 career in management, from being named top manager and retail door with American Eagle, being the region's top performing door with the Body Shop my entire time with the company, and having perfect audits as branch manager for Bank of America. I wouldn't ever have an employee do something I wasn't also doing myself. That meant including cleaning the bathroom or unpacking stock, because after all, teams do work better together. I met my husband, Tom, in grade school. We actually grew up around the corner and across the street from each other. We've practically known each other our whole lives. What Chip Gaines is to Joanna Gaines, Tom is to Priscilla. In other words, I've hit the jackpot. We've been married since 2011 and have the most lovable and smart 9-year-old boxer, Barkley. We are a family who aren't ones to sit still and enjoy experiencing the natural beauty of the region, taking road trips, camping, biking, hiking the trails that trace the volcanoes and valleys wherever we can. Barkley prefers nature or the beach. He is definitely not a city boy. If we are not outdoors, you'll find us spending quality time with our family, friends, and community. Okay. I've had the honor to serve our community with multiple organizations and be a part of some pretty impactful projects and events, from the La Escuelita Capital Campaign with La Casa Hogar to being a part of planning and organizing the first Yakima Taco Fest. Although I was a part of this, I did end up having tacos at the very end of the event. Tom and I have also had a very special person in our lives in 2019. That would be Ashlyn, when we became a host home through Rod's house. We like to think that she taught us way more about life than we did for her. She now has her own apartment, working, and just recently purchased her first car. Now that we are on the topic of serving over what would be the past 5 years, it was during mine and Tom's annual Reflect and Recharge vacation, where we talk about everything that happened throughout the year, share what we are grateful for, and what the following year's plans would be for us. 2019, its reflection would be when Tom would encourage and give me his support to pursue my passion to serve and start a career in mission-driven work. In mid-2020, I took on the role of executive director with Yakima Schools Foundation. I am responsible for advancing the organization's overall growth and development. I passionately believe in the importance of providing programs and support for all children, regardless of socioeconomic standing, race, religion, ethnicity, gender, or family lifestyle. I find it my privilege and honor to support the amazing teachers and staff within the Yakima School District so that they are able to provide students with excellence in their education. My community presence before the YSF board has benefited the foundation due to my engagement with diverse community involvement. That person-to-person involvement has led to an expansion of our presence in the greater Yakima community. Hired during the pandemic, we have strengthened our fundraising efforts through my research, diligence, and attention to detail. I was able to push our expectations for Oktoberfest, having over 50% new donors, and are doing so again with our Celebrate Our Youth event. The drive and confidence I have in our community to support the board and foundation has exceeded the board's expectations, both personally and financially. Creativity and collaboration is at the root of my work. My thinking outside the box has pushed us to fundraise successfully, digitally, linked us to Cowiche Creek Brewing, and I am currently redesigning and planning excellence in education, and have tightened our relationship with YSD through participation in YSD committees as a valued member. This wouldn't be possible without the amazingly trusting and supportive board that I have and valuable relationships we have with the district. I am in our community and see the assets the foundation has and see the potential that is in all of the board to strive to make it better for kids. And when it is better for kids, it is better for our community. Thank you everyone for the opportunity to share a little bit more about my story. And if you have any questions or want to have a virtual coffee, I'm always up for that too. Thank you.
Thank you, all three of you. It's so wonderful to hear from our fellow Rotarians, and especially our newest members, to have the classification talk. I get the nervous jitters that you all must have felt before starting, but it's so wonderful to get to know you, and thank you so much for speaking today. In honor of you speaking, we will be making a donation in your name to Yakima Rotary Charities, so again, thank you so very much. Now we're going to move on the agenda to Rotarians Are Going Places with Dottie Hildebrandt. Dottie.
Hello, everyone. Gosh, those were awesome. Erin, I agree. It's one of my new favorite segments to hear these stories about our membership. I feel much more connected and want to get to know you guys. Well, Mike Johnson and I are going places. We're going to 5606 Summit View, opening up the Union Gospel Mission's third thrift store. Our other two thrift stores are on Front, where our original building was for the Union Gospel Mission, and then more recently on Lincoln Avenue and Mission Thrift. And then the latest is Summit Thrift. So currently right now we're in the process of renovating the property inside and out. You should see it. The inside is being gutted, and we're redoing floors and walls and the interior, and then the exterior will get painting and some new roofing. And then the parking lot too will have, will be re-asphalted and kind of beautified. So it's it's the old Rite Aid across from Chalet Mall. And a few people, you may wonder why a thrift shop for Union Gospel Mission. What does that have to do with helping homelessness, from folks moving from homelessness to wholeness? Well, and actually, if you can move to the next slide, that'll show you continue to share the screen. There should be a few more slides. It'll show the new face and logo. Who's working on well, there we go. Okay. So there's three, I'll keep talking while he's doing that. I want to show you some great pictures of the inside, because you're going to be just surprised at how cool it looks. That there's three main reasons that we're doing thrift stores. One is that we're repurposing our stuff. It's a community offering, and right now we're receiving for all. I know I see some head nods. Thank you. People are dropping off their stuff. If you don't know where something goes, household goods, clothing, just all kinds of things, please drop them off at one of our thrift shops if you like. And there we go. The next reason is it's a great source of income so their net profits. That's kind of what the front will look like, but with some new roofing and paint. There's the interior of, I think it's our lighthouse shop. And so our thrift shop, you can get an idea. Okay, so guys, before your eyes glass over, know that there's a section in the new Summit Thrift it's called hardware and manland. So whatever that's going to be, there's a spot for you there. So anyways, it gives a good revenue for the mission. And then the last one is job training. And so folks coming off of our programs will get a chance to get some great job experience there at one of our thrift shops. So thank you everyone for for those of you who have already contributed, and hope it's just another gem for our community. Okay, back to you, Jennifer.
All right, thank you very much, Dottie, for sharing that. We have extra time left in terms of our regular meeting adjournment time at 1:15. And so I would like to open up if anybody had any questions or wanted to continue the conversation. Next week's program is going to be Tobias Levy with Fonterra, and the week after that is Kate Evans talking about the success of the Cosmic Crisp apple. So we've got some exciting programs the next 2 weeks as well. But with that, before we formally adjourn, if anybody would like to continue a conversation, we'd certainly welcome anyone to jump in.